It has been a little bit since the last eShop Deals video on the channel, but I figured it'd be a good time to do another, especially since there's a pretty big sale going on right now in the eShop. A bunch of Nintendo first-party games are discounted, and that's always a big deal. But in addition to that, there's a bunch of game collections and bundles on sale too, and I always love talking about those, especially when they contain classic games or retro games and such. Anyway, let's dive in and see what's good on sale. First up is Nintendo Switch Sports, which recently had the update to add basketball to the game. This is on sale in the eShop for $27.99, which is actually a pretty solid deal to be fair, though keep in mind, you will need the leg strap accessory or some way to attach or hold the Joy-Con to your body or to your leg in order to play some of the games like soccer. If you got one kicking around from the Nintendo Switch Ring Fit bundle, then you're pretty good to go to pick up the digital version. If you don't have one, then I can imagine that some people will be creative to get around that. Probably duct tape or something. Now speaking of sports games, there's Mario Tennis Aces on sale for $39.99, as well as Mario Golf Super Rush for the same price. Also there's Mario Strikers Battle League going for the same price too. I haven't personally played Mario Tennis Aces, but I've heard it's solid for the most part, even if it's not much of a big change over the Wii U predecessor. Mario Strikers Battle League is one that's definitely not worth the $60 MSRP price, but at $40 it can be fun, especially if you care about multiplayer play. In fact, that is really where the majority of the content lies, so if you don't care for multiplayer, then do skip this one. I really did like Mario Golf Super Rush, especially after all the updates that added extra courses and the characters and such. It was maybe a bit light at launch, but it's fleshed out pretty nicely in my opinion, and it's ended up being one of my favorite arcade-style sports games for the Switch. Also to note, it's a pretty good game to have digital too, since it's actually so quick to jump into the game. It's one of the fastest Nintendo Switch games to boot up. You can be in the game in like 30 seconds or so, it's pretty crazy. If you're a physical collector though, you typically can get used copies going for the same price that they're going for on the eShop sale. There's the bit underrated ARMS on sale for $41.99. You can usually find a complete physical copy for a bit cheaper, so keep that in mind, but if you want it digital, then the sale price isn't too bad. It's an awesome game though. I was really surprised by this one. I ended up finally getting it for the Switch a couple years ago. I was really impressed by the fun, easy to pick up and play combat, and even more so with the motion control support. It's one of the best Switch games that has motion control support on Switch, and it feels really natural to use. Of course you can play it with buttons on a traditional controller if you wish to, and that's a fine experience as well. Clubhouse Games 51 World Ride Classics is solid at $27.99. There's so many games in this one. There's board games, card games, games involving toys, puzzles, gadgets, and more, and they all have multiplayer options. There's so many games in this collection that I'm sure you'll discover quite a few that you'll end up liking. It's one of those games I recommend Switch owners to get because of the sheer amount of variety, and it's pretty inexpensive compared to other first-party Switch games. This also has one of my favorite ways to play Hanafuda, which if you know anything about Nintendo, then it's no surprise that this game is included in this collection, and it's a wonderful way to play. Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition is on sale for $41.99, and it's a great game with an insane amount of stuff to do and lots of content, especially if you want to 100% it. It has a huge roster of characters from a bunch of Zelda games, and it runs pretty well on the Switch. I think it's actually better than Age of Calamity, which, don't get me wrong, I love the story in that game, but my god, the performance in that game is abysmal. If you had to choose between the two, then Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition is the way to go. It performs much better on the Switch. Then there's Kirby Star Allies, on sale for $41.99 too. This is the first Kirby game on Switch, and after some updates it definitely got better, but it's not the best one of the big Switch Kirby games. An honor would go to Forgotten Door or Return to Dreamland Deluxe. That said, it is a solid platformer and a good pickup if you're a Kirby fan. In addition to that Kirby game, there's some digital-only Kirby games on sale on the eShop, and those two games are Kirby's Dream Buffet and Kirby Fighters 2. Kirby's Dream Buffet has you competing against others, whether it be bots, or local players, or through online play, in a race to the finish, while eating as many sweets as possible. It's a fun and cute multiplayer game. It's not a bad get at all, for $10.49. Kirby Fighters 2 has you fighting against other players, in a bit of a Kirby meets Super Smash Bros. Mashup of sorts. It is fun, there's lots of different character types, aka a ton of different Kirby power-up characters, and there's a bunch of unlockables to gain through play. It's not the most in-depth platform fighting game out there for sure, but it's not a bad get for $13.99. WarioWare, Get It Together, is a solid WarioWare game, on sale for $34.99 on the eShop. It has lots of fun microgames, and local multiplayer modes, and it doesn't have motion controls, like the sequel does. Now don't get me wrong, I don't mind them, but sometimes I'm lazy and I just don't want to go through all that. Anyway, it's on sale for $34.99, which is around the same price I've seen for a physical copy, so yeah, keep that in mind if you like the physical stuff. Snipperclips Plus, Cut It Out Together, is on sale for $20.98. It's a fun, cooperative puzzle platformer, and this includes the DLC, which adds new game modes and content, as well as more level stuff. You can get this game itself without the DLC, but don't bother. Get it with the DLC for the complete experience. Snipperclips also has a nice demo on the eShop, so feel free to check that out if you're curious. Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes is another Warriors game, and it's a fun one too. Its story and content is based on the Three Houses game, and like most Warriors games today, it has plenty of content to blast through. That all said though, even though it is on sale on the eShop for $41.99, let me tell ya, go physical for this one if you don't mind it. A used complete copy can be picked up for much less than an eShop sale price. Big Brain Academy, Brain vs. Brain, is on sale for $20.98, and this one takes the Brain Age formula in the DS games and adds some competitive modes and multiplayer. Game Builder Garage is going for the same price, but to be fair, this is more of an app than a game. You can download and play other players' creations, but this really is for people who love making their own stuff and games and such. It's a programming game, or edutainment game really. Still, it's a nice thing to have on Switch, if you're into that though. In addition to that, there's a couple oddballs on sale for games developed by other companies, but published by Nintendo. Those two games are Fitness Boxing 2, Rhythm and Exercise, and Go Vacation. These are on sale for $34.99 on the eShop. Fitness Boxing 2 kinda explains itself. It is what it is. I don't have it personally, but there is a demo in the eShop to try out if you're curious. Go Vacation though is an interesting case of a game that was originally a Wii game and was remastered for the Switch. And this is actually one of the very first such games to arrive in the console. This is Namco Bandai's take on Wii Sports, and there's about 50 minigames here that you can play through. In addition, you're able to unlock and earn furniture to customize your very own villa, so there's some light sim elements here too. This is a game I want to eventually touch more on in depth on the channel at some point when I talk about Wii games on Switch in the future. Finally, there's Everybody's 1-2 Switch, and it's on sale, but who cares? Seriously, this game sucks. It blows. Don't buy this, especially for that price. If somehow you're curious and you want to pick it up, it's much cheaper to get physically, and honestly, most stores and online shops are having a hard time giving this game away. It's just not a good game, the minigames are generally not that fun or engaging, and honestly, to get the most out of it, you're gonna need a large group of people to really get anything going with this game. There's so much better party games and multiplayer games on Switch that you could be playing, so just save your money and skip this one. I've talked about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga collection recently, mainly about the NES games that were included in my NES games on Switch video, but this collection also contains a lot more games. It has the TMNT arcade games, plus the Sega Genesis and Mega Drive games, and it even has the Game Boy games too, making for an awesome collection to have. In addition to that, there's online multiplayer for some games, as well as the local multiplayer options, and it even has the Japanese versions of each of the games, as well as a bunch of gallery stuff and behind the scenes stuff too to check out. It's a really well-made collection, and it's absolutely worth getting at its latest sale price for $15.99 on the eShop. The NAMCO Museum Archives Volume 2 collection contains 10 NES and Famicom games from Namco's past, plus a brand new game. It has Galaga, Battle City, Pac-Land, Dig Dug 2, Super Xevious, Mappy Land, Legacy of the Wizard, Rolling Thunder, Dragon Buster 2, and Mendel Palace. In addition to that, there's the inclusion of a new 8-bit game, an 8-bit version of Gal Plus, that was made to work on original hardware. This is pretty cool. It's a sequel to Galaga, with a pretty cool twist of being able to capture enemies and have them combine with you for additional firepower. This is a pretty good collection for just $4.99. The Sonic Origins Plus collection contains 4 classic Sonic games, Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles, and Sonic CD, with new improvements and adjustments, such as a new widescreen presentation, new characters to play as in each of the games, added modes, and challenges, and more. In addition to all that, is the inclusion of 12 Sonic Game Gear games to play. It's not a perfect collection, but for $19.99, there's plenty of content here to check out. The Sega Genesis Classics Collection contains over 50 Sega Genesis and Mega Drive games. And here you get the first 2 Sonic games, beat-em-ups like the Streets of Rage trilogy and the Golden Axe trilogy, shooters, puzzle games, RPGs, and more. For $5.99, it's hard to complain about the value of the package, even if I think the emulation could have been better. The Final Fantasy 1-6 Pixel Remastered Collection contains the first 6 Final Fantasy games, all with updated pixel graphics, rearranged soundtracks, gameplay adjustments, UI changes, gallery stuffs, and more. You can get the whole collection on sale for $59.99, which I still think is a bit high, but if you really want these games, and you intend to play through each one, then saving $25 isn't too bad. You can also get the games separately. The first 2 games are on sale for $9.59 each, while games 3-6 are available for $14.39 each as well. The Borderlands Legacy Collection contains 3 games of the series, with most of the DLC included as well. It has the Borderlands Game of the Year edition, as well as Borderlands the pre-sequel, and Borderlands 2. There's plenty of content here to play and enjoy, and having them on the Switch is great, as you can easily take these games on the go. For $9.99, it's a pretty good deal. The Saints Row, the Big Purple Package, contains both Saints Row the 3rd and Saints Row 4, 2 great classic open-world games with all their DLC included. Just like the prior collection, I love playing these games on the Xbox 360 and PS3 consoles, and the Switch ports here are great and solid, and they have the online multiplayer intact. It's an excellent value for just $4.49. The Serious Sam collection has 4 games included, which I believe a version of this collection was also on the Xbox 360 and PS3 back in the day. This collection here has a bit more improvements in the visuals, and also has all the DLC stuffs included. These are pretty silly and intense shooters that echo the craziness of the boomer shooter era. It's not a bad pickup for $4.49 via the latest eShop sale. To cap off our 360 and PS3 reliving on the Switch, why not check out the Assassin's Creed games via these 2 game collections. The Ezio collection contains Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and Assassin's Creed Revelations, as well as 2 short films, and all the single-player DLC stuffs for the games. It's on sale for $15.99. The Rebel collection has Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag and Assassin's Creed Rogue, plus all the single-player DLC stuff for $14.79. Let's go back further and relive the PS1 days with the following game collection remasters from Activision. The Spyro and Crash Remastered Game Bundle contains both remastered collections of the first 3 Crash Bandicoot games, as well as the first 3 Spyro games. These games, look really good on Switch, the performance is great, and the classic gameplay still holds up after all these years. For $26.24, for basically 6 games, you're getting a lot of platforming fun for a good value. If you already have the Spyro collection, or maybe you're just a Crash Bandicoot fan only, then there's the Crashiversary bundle that's on sale. This has the remastered Crash Bandicoot trilogy, plus Crash 4, plus Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, all for $39.99. That's a lot of games, good games, for the price. All the games included here are good ports, they're solid on the Switch, and excellent pickups. For Star Wars fans, the Star Wars Heritage Pack is on sale for incredible value. It has 7 classic Star Wars games for just $27.99, which marks a massive new low price for it on the eShop. You get Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, Republic Commando, The Force Unleashed, Knights of the Old Republic, and Knights of the Old Republic 2. Even with Knights of the Old Republic 2 not having the restored DLC, that was a whole mess, there's no denying here that for the other 6 games, you're getting a good value for the price. Each game is also available too, separately, for pretty cheap, via the latest sale, so if you're only eyeing 1 or 2 games, there's that option as well. And there you go. There's the first-party games from Nintendo on sale, and of course, some game collections and bundles on sale too. This was a fun little check into the games that are offered on sale, and hopefully, this video helps you out a little bit with navigating that massive sale. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you on the next video.